Now we are going to solve O-Level Physics 5054, Paper 1, Variant 1, October November 14. And today we will solve question 1 to question number 20. Question 1. Forces of 25 Newton and 40 Newton act on an object in the direction shown. Which arrow shows the direction of the resultant force on the object? Here we have two forces, one of 25 Newton and second of 40 Newton. First, we have to add these two vectors or these two forces by graphical method. So we have to move this 40 Newton force to the head of the 25 Newton force. Here we have to put the tail of the second vector on the head of the first vector. Now it is 25 Newton force, it is 40 Newton force, and the resultant of these two forces will be shown by R. So R is the resultant of this 25 and 40 Newton force. How we have to draw the resultant? Resultant we have to take from the tail of the first vector and we have to move towards the head of the last vector. So the last vector or the second vector is 40 Newton force and first vector is 25 Newton force. So for the resultant we have to move from the tail of the 25 Newton force towards the head of the 40 Newton force. So this R is the resultant of these two forces. Now we will check our option. The same direction is shown in the option B. This option B, it is the resultant force and it is same as we have drawn here. So our correct option is option B. Question number 2. Which device can be used to measure the thickness of a single sheet of paper? Option A meter rule. Option B, a micrometer. Option C, a plastic ruler. Option D, a measuring tape. Okay, here the best option is micrometer because thickness of a single sheet of paper is in millimeter. So the best instrument that we have to use to measure the thickness will be a micrometer. So correct option is option B, micrometer. Question 3. In a test, 4 students link the quantities on the left with their units on the right. Okay, here on the left hand side, we have some physical quantities and on the right hand side we have the units of these physical quantities. We have to match where it is the correct one. Okay, first we will check option A. In option A, for frequency it is hertz. Yes, it is correct. For acceleration it is meter per second square. Yes, it is correct. For latent heat it is joule. Yes, correct. For power it is watt. It is correct. So our correct option is option A. Okay, we will check other option. In option B, for frequency it is hertz. Yeah, it is correct. For latent heat it is given meter per second square. It is incorrect. For acceleration it is meter per second square. In option C, for frequency it is given meter per second square. No, it is incorrect. For frequency unit is hertz. In D, for frequency it is hertz. It is correct. For acceleration it is meter per second square. It is correct. For latent heat, it is given watt. No, for latent heat is energy, and for energy, the unit is joule. So option D is also incorrect. So our correct option is option A. In option A, for all the physical quantities, your units are given in a correct order. Question number 4. The speed time graph represents a short journey. It is time, it is speed. So this gradient will be for acceleration. Which distance time graph represents the same journey? Okay, we have 4 options and all the 4 options, the graph is drawn in between time and distance. Okay, we have to find out which time distance graph shows the acceleration. Here we are looking that with the increase in time, distance is increasing gradually. When the distance is increasing gradually, so this will represent the acceleration. Here in option B, it will represent the deceleration. In option C, it is time, it is distance. Here we are looking that gradient is a straight line. Gradient is straight line means here the velocity is uniform. When the velocity is uniform, there is no acceleration. In option D, it is shown that with the increase in time, there is no increase in distance. So increase in distance is 0. So here the velocity is 0. Since the velocity is zero, so there will be no acceleration. So our correct option is option A. With the increase in time, distance is increasing gradually and it represents acceleration. So here our correct option is option A. Question number 5. A boy sits on a playground roundabout. The roundabout carries the boy in a horizontal anti-clockwise circle at a constant speed. The diagram shows the view of the roundabout from the above. What describes the resultant force on the boy? Okay, here the boy is moving in a circle. When an object is moving in a circle, there is a resultant force on the object that is directed toward the center of the circle. So here we have a force that is directed toward the center of the circle. Now we will check our option. In option A, it is given the resultant force is 0. Option B, the resultant force is in direction W. Option C, the resultant force is in direction X. Option D, the resultant force is in direction Y. It is correct option because it is directed toward the center of the circle. So our correct option is option D. Question number 6. A scientist places a rock on a spring balance. She then places the same rock on a beam balance. At the North Pole, the gravitational field strength is greater than the equator. She performs the experiment at the North Pole and the equator. How do the readings at the North Pole compares with those at the equator? Okay, here scale reading on the spring balance and masses needed on the beam balance. Okay, first thing here, with the help of spring balance, we calculate the weight, we measure the weight, and with the help of beam balance, we measure the mass. Mass of a substance always remains constant, so the mass of the rock at the equator and at the pole, it will be same. There will be no change. For the weight, it is given here at the North Pole gravitational field strength is greater. Now weight depends on gravitational field strength because weight is given as product of m into g, where g is gravitational field strength. So with the increase in gravitational field strength, weight will also be increased. Now here it is given at the North Pole gravitational field strength is greater than the equator. So at the North Pole weight will be more as compared to weight at the equator. Now we will check our option. It is given in option B that different at North Pole. This weight means scale reading on the spring balance means weight. Weight is different at North Pole. Weight at the North Pole is greater as compared to weight at the equator. So it is definitely different. So we can say different at North Pole. What about the mass? Mass needed on the beam balance. Mass will remain same. So our option B is correct option. Weight is different at North Pole and mass at North Pole remains same. So option B is correct option. Question number 7. What affects the stability of an object? Okay, stability depends on two things. First, the center of gravity. Lower the center of gravity, lower the center of mass, stability will be more. Second thing, stability depends on the base area. More base area, stability will be more. Now in option A it is given, it depends only its base area and the location of center of mass. So it is correct option because stability depends on base area and the center of mass or center of gravity. Now option B only its weight. Stability does not depend on weight, so this option is incorrect. Option C only on the location of center of mass. It is incorrect. It depends on the center of mass, but also it depends on the base area. So option C is partially incorrect. Option D only its weight. Stability does not depend on weight. So option D is incorrect. Our correct option is option A only its base area and the location of the center of mass. Question number 8. Which object behaves as an elastic solid as it deforms? Okay, what is meant by elasticity? If the object regains its original shape, then it is called elasticity. Now, first we will check our options. Option A, a bullet as it hits a solid metal wall. Option B, a car damaged in a collision. Option C, a piece of metal cut by a saw. Option D, a football as it is kicked. Our correct option is option D. When we kick a football, its shape is changed, but after a short while, it regains its original shape. So we can say a football as it is kicked is a elastic solid. Question number 9. A spring extends by 6 centimeter when a 15 Newton weight is suspended from its lower end. Three of these springs are used as shown to support a 90 Newton weight. Okay, what is the extension of each spring? Okay, here it is given for one spring. The extension is 6 centimeter when a 15 Newton weight is suspended from it. Now here we have a set of 3 springs. So 15 multiplied by 3, it will be 45. So we can say for the 45 Newton, the extension is 6 centimeter. Now here we have weight of 90 Newton. So for the 90 Newton weight, the extension will be definitely twice of this 6 Newton. So for 90 Newton weight, the extension will be twice of this 6 centimeter, means it will be 12 centimeter. So 12 centimeter is given in option B. So our correct option is option B. Question number 10. Objects of different weights are placed on a rigid horizontal surface. Which row shows the correct pressure acting on the surface? Okay, pressure is given as force upon area. Now we will check the pressure in all the 4 cases. For the option A, here weight is given. Weight means force. And here area is given. Here pressure is given. Now we have to divide this weight by area. When we will divide this weight 10 by 0.1, it will be 100 Pascal. Here it is given 1 Pascal, so it is incorrect. In B, we have to divide 20 by 0.2. When we will divide 20 by 0.2, again we will get 100 Pascal. Here it is given 0.01 Pascal, so it is incorrect. Option C, 30 divided by zero point 0.1. When we will divide 30 by zero point 0.1, we will get 300. And here it is given 300 Pascal, so it is the correct option. In D, when we will divide 40 by zero point 0.2, we will get 200 Pascal, and here it is given 8 Pascal, so it is also incorrect. So our correct option is option C. When we will divide 30 by zero point 0.1, we will get 300 Pascal pressure. Question number 11. The diagram shows a simple manometer that contains a liquid. Side X is connected to a gas supply of pressure R. Side Y is open. This is side Y. It is open to atmosphere at a pressure S. Which pressure is the length H used to measure? Okay, we have to find out this pressure H. This pressure H is the pressure exerted by the gas. Now this pressure is equal to pressure of the gas minus pressure of atmosphere. Means we have to subtract this S from R. Atmospheric pressure we have to subtract from the pressure of the gas. So our answer should be R minus S. Yeah, R minus S is given in option C. So our correct option is option C. Question number 12. Air is trapped in a cylinder by a piston. The pressure of the air is P and the length of the air column is 20 centimeter. The piston is moved outwards until the length of the air column has increased by 40 centimeter. The temperature of the air remains constant. What is the new air pressure? Okay, here we have some gas. The pressure of the gas is given P and the length is given 20 centimeter. Now we have pulled this piston back. Now the new length is equal to 20 plus 40, it is 60 centimeter. When the new length is 60 centimeter, at this length we have to find out the pressure. Okay, during this experiment, temperature remains constant, means here we have to apply Boyle's law. Now Boyle's law states P1 V1 is equal to P2 V2, where this P1 V1 for initial pressure, initial volume, and this P2 V2 are for final pressure and final volume. Now initial pressure is P, initial pressure P1 is P, it is given here. So in place of P1 we have taken P. Initial volume, for the volume V1 we have taken 20 centimeter. This P2 we have to find out. This V2 for new volume we have taken 20 plus 40, 60 centimeter. Here this 60 centimeter or 20 centimeter is length, it is not the volume, but we are using this length in place of volume. What is the reason? The other dimensions means width and depth for the initial case and for the final case are same. So we can use length in place of volume. There will be no change in the answer. Okay, now by solving this one, by solving this equation, we got P2 is equal to P over 3. So the new pressure P2 is equal to P over 3 and it is given in option B. So our correct option is option B. Question number 13. A student uses a Newton meter to pull an object horizontally along rough ground. The student multiplies the Newton meter reading by the distance moved by the object. What does the calculation give? Okay, here student uses a Newton meter. Newton meter means he has calculated the weight and he multiplied this weight by the distance moved. Now weight is a force. It means force is multiplied by the distance. Force multiplied by distance, it is called work done. Work done is defined as the product of force and displacement or the distance moved. So here what calculation will give? Here it will be work done and it is given in the option D, the work done on the object. So here he has calculated the work done and it is given in option D. So correct option is option D. Question number 14. A builder carrying 6 bricks climbs a ladder. Each brick weighs 25 Newton and the builder climbs a vertical distance of 4 meters in 8 seconds. What is the average power used to raise the bricks? Here we have to find out the average power. Power is given as rate of work done. Rate of work done means work done over time. Now here the builder is carrying the bricks at a height of 4 meters. It means here work is done against gravitational field. So work done will be equal to change in gravitational potential energy and gravitational potential energy is given as mgh. So we can say work done is equal to mgh. Now here in mgh, m is for mass, g is for gravitational field strength and the product of mass and gravitational field strength is called weight. So we can also say the work done is equal to mgh and in place of mgh we can write w into h. Now here weight of each brick is given 25 Newton, total brick 6, so total weight will be equal to 6 multiplied by 25. So in place of w we have taken 6 multiplied by 25. Height is given 4 meters and the time is given 8 seconds, so we have to divide the value of work done by time t, that is given 8 seconds, and by solving this one we got the answer 75 watts. And 75 watts is given in option B, so our correct option is option B. Question number 15. A copper rod is heated at one end. Which statement describe how heat transfer occur in the copper? Okay, first thing, copper is a solid. In solid, heat is transferred by conduction. Conduction means the atoms or the molecule vibrate, and because of the vibration of the molecule, energy transfer from molecule to molecule, and in this way energy is transferred from one end to the other end. Second thing, here copper, it is a metal, and in metal there are free electrons and these free electrons can move easily and energy can also be transferred because of the movement of the electrons. Now we will check our options. In option A, it is given energetic copper molecules move from the cooler end to the hotter end. No, molecules do not move. Option B, energetic copper molecules move. Again, it is given here move, so this option is also incorrect. Option C, energetic free electrons move from the cooler end to the hotter end. This option is incorrect. Electrons move, but from hotter end to the cooler end. That is given in the option D, that energetic free electrons move from the hotter end to the cooler end. So this option D is correct option. Question number 16. The diagram shows a clinical thermometer. In the thermometer, it is mercury, it is constriction, it is bore, and it is a complete glass tube or a capillary tube. Which factor affects the sensitivity of the thermometer? Okay, sensitivity is affected by the diameter of the capillary tube. Now here in option B, it is given the diameter of the bore. Diameter of the bore means diameter of this capillary tube. So our correct option is option B. Question number 17. A centimeter scale is fixed next to an unmarked mercury in glass thermometer. The ice point and the steam point are marked. Here this is ice point and here 11 it is steam point. What is the temperature shown on the thermometer? Okay, here we have to find out the temperature at this point 6.6. Okay, here we have to use the formula theta degree centigrade is equal to 100 p theta minus pi divided by ps minus pi, where this p theta is thermometric property at the temperature that we have to find out. This pi is the thermometric property of ice, that is given here 1. ps is the thermometric property of steam, that is given here 11. pi again thermometric property of ice, that is given here 1. Now we have to substitute the values. In place of p theta, we have substituted 6.6. Pi is 1, Ps is 11. So by solving this one, we will get the answer 56 degrees centigrade. And 56 Celsius is given in option B. So our correct option is option B. Question number 18. Water is poured into 4 dishes. In 2 of the dishes, the water has a small surface area, and in the other 2 it has a large surface area. The water in the 2 of the dishes is cool and the water in the other 2 is warm. From which dishes do the water evaporate the quickest? Okay, evaporation depends on the surface area. With the increase in surface area, evaporation increases. Second thing, evaporation also depends on the temperature. With the increase in temperature, evaporation increases. So from the warm dish, the evaporation will be more, and from the cool dish, the evaporation will be less. Same with the more surface area, there will be more evaporation. With the less surface area, there will be less evaporation. Now here in option B, it is given surface area large. For large surface area, evaporation will be more, and for warm temperature the evaporation will be more. So our correct option is option B. Question number 19. A wave frequency of 13,000 hertz travel 1300 meters in 4 seconds. What is the wavelength of the wave? Okay, here we have to find out the wavelength. To find out the wavelength, we will use the formula velocity is equal to frequency into wavelength. Now here velocity is given here. No, velocity is not given. Okay, here what is given? Distance is given and time is given. We will divide this time by distance to get the velocity. So velocity will be equal to distance over time. So it will be equal to 1300 over 4. Now frequency is given 13,000 hertz. Wavelength we have to find out. Now by solving this one, we will get the answer. Lambda is equal to 0.25 meters. 0.25. No, it is 0.025. And 0.025 is given in option A. So our correct option is option A. Question number 20. A shoe shop puts a mirror on the wall so that the customer can look at their shoes. The length of the mirror is 50 centimeter. The customer has eye 150 centimeter above ground level. The bottom of the mirror is at height h above the ground. What is the smallest value of h that allows the customer to see an image of his shoes in the mirror? How the man will see his shoes? The ray will start from the shoes, it will strike the mirror and it will rebound, and when this ray will reach his eyes, he will see the shoes. Okay, this ray that is moving from the shoe to the mirror, it is called incident ray, and the ray that is reflected back from the mirror, it is called reflected ray. And here this dotted line, it is called normal, that is at a right angle to the plane of the mirror. Now the angle in between the incident ray and the normal is called angle of incidence, and this angle must be equal to the angle in between the normal and the reflected ray, that is called angle of reflection. Now if these two angles are equal, then this distance and this distance will also be same. Now here total distance is 150 centimeter. So from this dotted point to his eyes, the distance will be 75 centimeter, and same from the dotted line to the shoes, the distance will also be equal to 75 centimeter. Now here length of the mirror is given 50 centimeter. So this height, this h, the minimum height, it should be 25 centimeters so that it will become 75 centimeter. If this height is less than 25 centimeter, then total length will be less than 75, and then he cannot see his shoes. So the minimum height S should be 25 centimeter, and it is given in option B. So our correct option is option B. Okay, today we have completed up to question number 20. The remaining from 21 to 40 we will do in the next session. Thank you very much.